Oh man, that was a tough one, wasn't it? Like I said on my YouTube short, I thought that losing to the Eagles in the manner that we did with that blocked kick would have been the case all year. I don't know, man. This one's definitely up there for one of those heartbreaking losses. You have a chance to go down and win it there in overtime. It really felt like the Rams were going to when they connected with Tutu Atwell there into 49ers territory. Wasn't the biggest fan of that down to one call to Kyren Williams right up the middle. If they get that, I don't know, maybe my mind changes, but hey, ones like I feel like for me, I'm one of those fans like, yeah, I want the Rams to, if they're gonna lose, be super competitive, but it hurts a lot more if it's this kind of close game, especially the 49ers. I give them credit for everything that they did. We'll get into that. The way that the show is gonna be structured for those who are watching live and those who are gonna be watching, after this is recorded, I will have chapters on this. But we'll start by looking at your comments real quick. We'll go over the box score just to give a layout of this game, talk about the Rams offense, the defense, some standout players, flow of this game, how this thing ended up going. So I will have those chapters for those of you who watch afterwards. But first, we're just going to start here with I find this comment kind of funny. No, we got this heading into the game. Oops, yeah, that was definitely hard. I don't even like football. Sometimes I feel that way too after this. I'm so angry at this loss. Yeah, put the ball in Puka's hands. Very frustrating game. Thank you all for joining me. We are going to start off here just with the general box score. That doesn't obviously dictate how a game goes, but just to get a feel of how this thing went. First downs, 27 first downs for the 49ers, 27 first downs for the Rams. Third down efficiency, 49ers were 7 for 18. Rams were 4 for 10. Fourth down efficiency, 49ers were 3 for 3. Rams were 2 for 3. It's the total plays. This is a big one. 49ers had 83 total plays to the Rams 64. That was a big theme in this game. Sacks allowed, 1 for the 49ers, 1 for the Rams. Punts, 4 for the 49ers, 2 for the Rams. Penalties, 8 for 44 for the 49ers, 5 for 36 for the Rams. Fumbles lost, 0 for the 49ers, 2 for the Rams. Interceptions thrown, both teams had 0. And another huge stat here, 49ers, 40 minutes of time of possession to the Rams, 26. So big categories when I'm looking at this box score that stand out and kind of reinforce what you're seeing as far as eye test goes. 49ers having 83 plays to the Rams 64 at the end of the game. Adding on top of that, the 40 minutes of time of possession to the Rams 26. The game plan for the 49ers offense in this game was very clear, and I give a lot of credit to the way Mac Jones played there. But it was clear that they were wanting to keep the ball out of the Rams' hands on offense with all the firepower that we have. They wanted to just kind of chew the clock, drain the clock, and they did that very well, just shown by that 40 minutes of time of possession to the Rams' 20-ish minutes there. So they did a good job of that. They ran so many more plays than the Rams did with their 83 to the Rams 64. So it really felt like you were just watching the 49ers on offense all day, especially in that first half. In fact, I have here in my notes here, let's see. Yeah, so in the first half, the Rams only had the ball 3 times, and with those possessions, the Rams had a punt to open it up. It was a 3 and out, and we had a fumble, and that was a hard one. We were driving down the field trying to respond, and Blake Corum has the fumble there. 49ers get it back. They go out and score. Rams get a touchdown on their third and final drive of the half, so they only had 3 drives to work with because the 49ers were just keeping it out of the Rams' hands, and they were putting together long drives. And for me, that was what was really frustrating about this is the Rams offense has shown the ability to be able to move the ball down the field all season long. A lot of the times their issues comes on red zones and third down and longs, but the Rams were moving the ball, but they only had those 3 opportunities in the first half to be able to do so, and they were driving on one of them, fumbled the ball, driving on another one, scored, and then they punted on the first one. So that was definitely frustrating. Dominated. I think they had like 20-ish minutes of time of possession in the first half to the Rams, like little amount. So 49ers game plan was really working there, just keeping it out of our hands. But yeah, when you talk about that Rams offense, a big part of it that I was realizing is just again, this Rams offense was moving, and I thought the pass protection was working really well. We were running decently well, but a lot of it came down to the miscues. And when you go back and you look at it, you had that Blake Corum fumble early on in the game when the Rams were driving and an opportunity to score. You don't like to see that. You lose the fumble there. And then later on in the game, of course, you have that Kyren Williams fumble when he's like 2 yards out from winning the game. Hit that man is right there, and he fumbles the ball. That's another miscue for this Rams offense. And then even earlier on in the game, I believe it was 3rd or 4th quarter, you had a down to Kyren Williams who had 20 yards of space to catch it and turn up the field and run, keep the drive moving. Instead, he drops it, and then we send out our field goal team out there, and we miss the field goal. And then even later on in the game, we have the opportunity to go up 1 point there, 21-20, and it gets blocked. So it's one of those things where I feel like this Rams offense, you're seeing the potential in it, and then they make these crucial miscues. And for a team like the 49ers, the game plan that they had going into this game, it was all about hogging the ball, just dominating time of possession, wearing down our defense, and you really coming into the fact. So the little bit of drives that the Rams had due to all the clock that the 49ers were draining, you can't afford to have those mishaps of those 2 fumbles, of the field goal miss because Kyron dropped a pass. And this is stuff with your high paid, highly invested offense that you can't see. I understand it's a short week, but coming down to the game plan, offense can't mess up in that situation. And even given the mishaps that they had on the offensive side of the ball, the Rams still almost won the game with Kyren Williams fumbling there on the goal line. My heart was broken. I was not expecting to see that, but that's really the main theme that I have with this Rams offense, because if you actually go back and you look at the box score of this game, the offensive yards for the Rams was actually not all that bad. And so if we take a look at this, the total yards the Rams put up on offense was 456 to the 49ers 407. Passing yards 378 to the 49ers 333. Rushing yards 78 to the 74 of the 49ers. So like they were able to move the ball down the field, but it's those key mishaps in the big points in the games that came back to bite the Rams. And the thing is, it wasn't just one mishap. You had all those that I listed out to you. And you can't expect to win a game like that, especially given the play style of the game that the 49ers were forcing the Rams to play into, given the fact that they were just burning down all the clock. Not like the defense figured it out in the second half a little bit more how to deal with this 49ers offense, but that's where those things you just can't make mishaps when the 49ers are coming into this. And you even look at this just reinforcing the style of game that the 49ers were playing. They had obviously the huge time possession minutes to 25, but they also had 83 plays to the Rams 64, which is just crazy. And so we talk about this Rams defense here. I personally did not like the way that the Rams defense came out and tried to play against this 49ers team in the first half. I think you got to give some credit for sure to the 49ers and the game plan that they had, the players, the way they're executing. But at the same time, I did not like it felt like for 3 quarters of this game, the Rams defense was just playing that kinda soft style defense, letting the 49ers hit those 5 to 10-yard in routes or those curl routes or those screens. And, yeah, they had their flashes here and there for sure, but for most of this game, I felt like the Rams were really just playing kind of like that Raheem Morris soft style, like, backing off defense to let the 49ers get it into their playmakers' hands, and it just felt like they were just, like, matriculating the ball down the field over and over and over again. The Rams would get to those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. 49ers would convert because we were playing soft. I felt like the Rams defense figured things out more so in the second half of the game, more so from that 3rd to 4th quarter. We actually got 2 big stops there to be able to get the ball back for the offense. Because if you guys remember coming out of the half, Rams were down 17-7, and our defense ended up getting 2 big stops. Rams ended up coming storming back, obviously, to make it 20-20 there. But the point is, like, the Rams defense, it took them a while to be able to adjust to it, and I really felt like it was around that 4th quarter mark as the Rams defense was playing more aggressive, getting in the face of Mac Jones and being able to throw off the copy and do things that they should have done earlier, where I feel like they were just playing a lot more just conservative and backed off, and this 49ers offense is very conservative, and that's the way they were moving down the field, chewing up clock. So I wasn't a big fan of the Rams defense for most of this game, and McCaffrey had some big plays here and there, but the Rams defense tightened up when it mattered most. And even in that scenario in overtime, when the 49ers were driving with the ball, we were able to get those 2 big sacks to be able to force them to kick the field goal instead of getting the touchdown. So that was big. Defense made big adjustments there late. As much as I didn't like the way that they played for most of the game, but playing so soft and conservative, not even tackling super well for a lot of it, they did make the adjustments to be able to give the offense opportunities. It just came down to the fact that I talked about earlier. a lot of those mishaps happening with the Rams. Obviously, the biggest one in this game that people are gonna remember is the Kyren Williams fumble when he gets to the goal line. Like, he's literally 2 yards away, and I gotta give credit to Alfred Collins, what a play to punch it out there, but that's really the thing that stood out to me is all these miscues, and the defense, while it took a while for them to adjust, they did adjust in time, and the Rams came storming back. They had the opportunity, even just getting there down in the overtime situation with connecting on 2-2 while getting it down to that 4th and 1 situation. Again, if the Rams make this play call work and they get the first down, I'm probably singing a different tune, but I don't I'm not a fan of that 4th and 1 play call just to run right up the middle on this 49ers defense. I was pretty stingy against the run. I like the game plan that the Rams had against a team like the Texans in week 1 on that 4th down thing or even the 3rd down to set it up actually, where you had Puka go through I think it was the B gap, go out to the flat and convert and do something creative like that, give Stafford options. Again, if the play works with the Rams to run up the middle there in that 4th and 1 situation, am I complaining? Probably not. But just from my perspective, I just didn't like that call, but it shouldn't have even come down to that. I mean, you just made so many miscues, and the 49ers, again, give credit to them. They capitalize on those miscues, but, like, you're 2 yards away to score a touchdown to basically win the game, and instead, like, they come storming back and can't get it there. So, general thoughts again, I feel like the 49ers had a very smart game plan of just chewing up the clock, time of possession, exhausting this Rams defense. They did a really good job about that. Most of their passes were just those quick passes. Kinda reminded me of those classic 49ers and Rams games when the 49ers were on, like, an 8 to 10 game winning streak on the Rams where they're just dominating time of possession, getting 3, 4, 5 yards every play, just moving down the field. Felt like the Rams defense really did adjust to that. The offense was really moving the ball down the field, and that reflects in the stats. They were being very efficient, but those miscues were just killing us in this game. And in the style of the game that the 49ers played, it really did come back to bite us there. So, hated to see that. We'll talk about some key superstar, like, standout players here for the Rams. While they did lose, there's still players that I wanna highlight and still want to give the attention to, and rightfully so. I thought that Stafford played really well this game. I thought the offensive line protected him, really well for a lot of this game. He had a bunch of time to operate, and he ended up having a really good day stats-wise. When you go back and look at it, I think he only had, like, 100 yards in the first half passing, but Stafford was able to bounce back and move down the field. I'm actually just checking to see for some reason the page won't refresh to show me his yards, but he ended up putting things together there. So Stafford was a key player in my mind. I also want to shout out Tutu Atwell. He had the huge crosser, 30-yard crosser even earlier in the game to convert the Rams to scoring position. That was huge momentum. Obviously, he had the big play in overtime. Love Tutu Atwell, his usage, and it just continues to go up. He's continuing to be Mr. Clutch. I really thought that one in overtime was going to set us up for a game winner. So Tutu Atwell definitely stood out to me. I think also Poona Ford was a big guy that stood out to me. Just if you really watch him and the defense he had on Christian McCaffrey and the ways he was disrupting things, especially through the first 2 quarters, I noticed him, especially Poona Ford's run defense was definitely, something that I noticed there. Also, let's see, just checking out to see if there's any other Terrence Ferguson was a big standout for me, that 3rd down and 5 that he had 50-50 ball that he came down with. Cool to see a Terrence Ferguson sighting in there, a nice athletic tight end to win those 50-50 balls. I thought Jared Verse was another big key player for the Rams in this game, disrupting things in the run, in the passer a couple times that he just completely blew Trent Williams back into the quarterback. Jared Verse was another standout player. So, he definitely had those standout players there. And it hurts too because Kyren Williams was on his way to being a huge standout player for the Rams this game. He had those 2 receiving touchdowns. He's involved a lot in the passing game, but obviously people are gonna look at the mistake that he made, the fumble there down when you had the chance to go and win the game. You basically had the win sealed up if he scores that touchdown, and then that dropped pass on the 3rd and 5 when you had the room to operate ends up turning into a missed field goal. So Kyren Williams had a great night, but he also ended up being a huge reason that the Rams lost this game as well. So those are a lot of my thoughts for this game. A look ahead for this Rams team. Right now, we are 3-2. This was a big opportunity to take that number 1 spot in the NFC West. There's still a lot of time left in the season, but divisional losses like this hurt, especially in the manner that it happened. They really do hurt, man, like, especially to teams like the 49ers, and especially considering the fact that the 49ers came into this game so banged up, so injured, like, half of their team was hurt, and I give credit to them for being able to stick in this game, have a game come out here and beat the Rams as much as the Rams did not execute on a lot of, like, situations that they should have. I also recognize the fact, like, it's impressive what the 49ers did. Looking forward, though, this is still not the end of the season. I hate to see loss like this. It's so heartbreaking, but I still wouldn't give up on this Rams. So much time left in the season. We get to play the 49ers again, luckily. A lot of season left, and it's easy to panic and overreact over losses like this. And I hate seeing losses like this. I can't stress that enough. But I'm glad the season's not over. You're 3-2. You're in a situation where you can still dig out of it. We are on to Baltimore next, and I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to play. So there's still life for this Rams team. It's just like you. It's annoying to lose games like these. These are really demoralizing. And as long as the Rams come out and respond like I think they do, clean up a lot of the miscues that they had that I've talked about, I still have a lot of faith in this Rams team. I just you want to steal a win like this, and it's frustrating with the 49ers being banged up, coming into SoFi and taking this win in the manner that it happened, and all the opportunities you had, and just a little bit of the slowness to be able to adjust by the Rams defense. But either way, frustrating game, very sad game to watch. I'll get back to your comments here. Thank you all for being in here tonight to help. This is like a therapy session in my mind. Like after a loss like this, sometimes it's annoying to go live, but it's also you guys help me get through it here for sure. Let's see. Now I gotta call in sick tomorrow because my students are gonna yeah. Oh, man, I do not envy that position for you to go into the class tomorrow, but strong, man. We've gone through a lot tougher years as Rams fans, for sure. 0 pressure. Yeah, that was the thing too, like, going back to the Rams defense, I feel like it really took until probably 2 minutes left in that 3rd quarter to the 4th quarter for the Rams defense to figure out how to be aggressive enough, how to get into the face, how to kinda shut down those short passes, and that's what was really frustrating about it because Mac Jones had a lot of time to throw. 49ers had a really good game against this Rams pass rush, but it was for so long, it was unrecognizable to see this Rams defense not applying a lot of that pressure, and it took until that 3rd to 4th quarter for the Rams to make those adjustments and to kinda be a little bit more aggressive. I was talking to my dad about this, like, I feel like the Rams should have been pressing the receivers a little bit more, kind of throwing off timing, especially given the fact a lot of the top wide receivers for the 49ers are out. And the Rams were kind of playing that off coverage looking defense for a while, letting the 49ers just kind of think and dunk their way down the field, missing tackles here and there. The defense did end up adjusting. We ended up getting pressure, and there's still no excuse. You should have won this game. Your offense has so many opportunities. And again, I keep going back to this, like the fact that you've invested this much into the offense and the output and some of these miscues that you're seeing right now, definitely frustrating because they're a big reason that your team is not 4-1 right now at the top of the division. And obviously, even with all those mishaps, you still had a chance to win the game, but you just it's kind of inexcusable for an offense like this. But I think they'll get it cleaned up. It's just it's hard to go through the growing pains right now, especially when a lot of the team is like veteran led. I think McVay just abandons the run sometimes, and I think it shows in this game too. Yeah, I could. Yeah, it did feel like he was actually passing the ball a lot. Let me actually, I don't know if it'll refresh for me. I don't know why the box score is not refreshing for me at the moment. For me, I think this wasn't one of those games where the Rams were running really well and then went away from it. Those ones are always frustrating. I feel like they were passing a lot because the 49ers pass rush was actually pretty abysmal in my opinion. This is probably the most time we'll see Stafford have in a game for a while this season. Like, he actually had so much time to pass. So I can kind of understand it in this game because you had so much time to pass with the future Hall of Fame quarterback with Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams catching the ball out there. So I can kind of understand it here, but I have seen that in the past for him abandoning the run. But in a game like this, I feel like the line is actually protecting Stafford really well to where I could kind of justify it a little bit. But I definitely feel where you're coming from. In some of the games, I can feel that he definitely abandons the run there. Uh, yeah. When we lose to the 49ers in season, we win the Super Bowl. Yeah, that's the thing too. I'm glad kinda going back to what I said against the Eagles, I'm glad this isn't a playoff game. Like, losing a game like this in the playoffs would be so heartbreaking. I'm still heartbroken right now, to be honest. Like, that was just a gut punch to lose that close. How close the Rams were to actually winning this game and come out on the short end of the stick of it, just it really does it hurts. you gotta sit with this one longer because we don't play on Sunday, obviously. So just hope to, like you said, be able to rewrite this and make a push and go win the Super Bowl. Regular season games don't matter as long as you get in the playoffs and you can win the games there. But hate to see it. Hate to see it for sure. I don't think any team has had this many blocked field goals in a season. I'd actually like to. I'm gonna look that up right now. Let's see for blocked kicks in a season. So the record for blocked kicks in a season. Um, Let me. I gotta rephrase the wording here. Which team, NFL team, had the most field goals blocked in history? I'm actually curious about this because the Rams have, to this point, 4 blocked field goals, and I'm trying to see. I'm not finding any information on this. I don't have that set out here to my knowledge, but the Rams got off to a great start at the moment with all the field goals, all the extra points blocked. I hate to see it too because, like, Josh Cody's a really good kicker, but anytime he comes out to kick a field goal, I'm nervous that it's gonna get blocked. Ever since that Eagles game, obviously, we had one blocked against the Titans even before that, and then we have the blocked kick here in this game. So special teams concerns me, and I'm not even sure what the issue is. Like, I understand it's the blocking is the protection, but, like, I don't know why all of a sudden we can't block, the defensive linemen, and they're just getting their hands on the ball so easily. It's so frustrating. Niner for life, Niners house. Congrats, man. Big win for you guys. Crazy how you're able to pull that out with all those injuries, but can't wait to see you guys again for sure. DHP, thanks for stepping in. He says, "Kyren Williams is trash. He loves to fumble at the worst time." I disagree that he's trash. I really do. I mean, if you take away that fumble, I know it's easy to say, like, the fumble is, like, the biggest play of the game. Ended up being a big reason we lost. But if you take that away, he had the 2 touchdowns, big pass protection. He absolutely needs to clean up the fumbles, no doubt about it, but I would disagree that he's trash. Niners practice squad beat the 49er or the Rams starters. That was the crazy thing. Good game plan there. These divisional games are interesting. Rams definitely had their opportunities, they had their miscues, but also the 49ers just had a great game plan on top of that for sure. Good, congrats to you for sure. Niners too unhealthy to make a Super Bowl for at least 10 years. CMC has 3 more games on his legs, and the Niners missed the playoffs. I don't even know about that because the 49ers have such an easy schedule, and that's why winning this game, beating the beating the Niners for the Rams is actually super important because obviously it's divisional, but also in a season like this, the 49ers have such a cupcake schedule where it's like you can't really count on them losing a lot of the games, especially with them winning games that they are while they're hurt. You can't really count on a lot of the kind of like bottom feeder teams to be able to beat. So to lose this game definitely hurts in a lot of ways, and you can't really count on a lot of teams to upset the 49ers just because the schedule is so easy. I can see why McVay abandons the run game now. Number 1 in the NFC West, Niners O-line holding all day. I'd have to look at it. Nothing, like, super crazy stood out to me as far as them holding. I think just for whatever reason, they had a really good game plan, especially for the first, like, 3 quarters. It felt like our pass rush was non-existent, but I also feel like that kinda goes back to what I was saying, where I just feel like the way we had our cornerbacks playing and our defensive backs playing was very conservative and backed off to the point where it doesn't really matter how good of a pass rush you have if they can get it out quickly, but there are also times where I was like, "Man, like, why aren't we getting home?" I think we figured that out really from the 3rd and 4th quarter, but I'm not sure if I'd necessarily say they were holding all day. Let's see, Johnny Hamlin, if you guys don't know, this is my brother. He says that game was a heartbreaker. We both watched this live play out. Definitely a heartbreaker for sure. I just, man, to get a loss to the Eagles the way that we lost, and then to get a loss to the 49ers the way that we just lost, definitely hurts. Can we talk Dodgers? I wish I was more into baseball. I really do, but don't have really anything to say about the Dodgers other than Clayton Kershaw and Shohei Ohtani is a great player, so can't really help you out there much. Kyle Shanahan was trying to get back after the sweep from last season. Yeah, definitely had a great definitely had a great game plan given the fact that the situation that they were in with all the injuries they were dealing with. I still will die on the hill in saying that the Rams had so many opportunities to be able to take control of this game, but also, like, just to win this game. And the 49ers did a great job with the game plan, but you gotta acknowledge the fact, like, Kyren fumble there on a game run likely to seal the game was big. The Corum fumble on a drive that we were moving to get a touchdown early on, that's huge. 2 fumbles always is gonna come back to hurt you, and then the Kyren drop to set up the field goal miss. Like, you just had so many opportunities that were just missed. While the 49ers did execute well, I think it's also a mix of both. The Rams really like, again, when you put that much into the offense, they shouldn't be the reason that you lose games. Rams will pick it up. Don't fret, people. Yeah, thanks for coming in, Deuce Falco, speaking some reason in here. I'm definitely not panicking. I'm definitely sad, especially like this game was so winnable. It was set up for you. The 49ers had a good game plan, but it was set up for you. So I'm definitely not panicking. I'm definitely not fretting, especially how much season is left. We're still above 500, but it's as I talked about earlier, it's frustrating when you know the 49ers don't have like a crazy good schedule where you can bank on them losing games. Jet sweep Puka, he will make it happen. I'm assuming you're talking about on that 4th and 1 call. Definitely think that Puka definitely got out of play there. I just feel like going back in hindsight for me, I would have rather them do some sort of pass concept with all the weapons they have, maybe a rollout, have a different levels concept. Again, I talked about like that Texans game that we had with Puka Nacua going through the B gap. I think you could have done something so much more creative than just running it up the middle. Because on the day, like the Rams' rush offense was not all that great. Like you had some big plays here and there, but the 49ers defense did a pretty good job of stopping it. And so I definitely think they could have been so much more creative there on the 4th down play. It was like very anticlimactic to see the way the 49ers were able to stop that play because we just went right up at them. And I understand Kyren Williams is a great 3rd down, like 3rd and short, 4th and short scenario kind of back. Like he is automatic on those. But just given the flow of the game, I just don't know if that's really the right call. Again, if they get it, do I change my tune? Probably because I'm a human and sometimes just can be reactionary. But I just feel like the Rams could have drawn up something more creative. Oh, Dr. Hawthorne was at this game? Oh, man, that hurts even more to lose this one. Deuce Falco says Ravens are next. Rams need to lock in. Yeah, the Ravens are next. To my understanding, Lamar Jackson is not gonna play. It's gonna be Cooper Rush. So I honestly kinda wanted to see Lamar play because I feel like this Rams team can go in there and beat Lamar, but I think definitely the odds are looking favorable for the Rams, and they have a long week to be able to prepare for the Ravens to be able to correct these mistakes. And you feel like it's gonna happen soon. Like, when you look at this Rams offense and all the mishaps that they have, all the things where it's like, "Man, we're this close to being really good on offense, like borderline unstoppable." If we can clean up these miscues, whether it would be like in recent weeks, the 3rd down inefficiency or the red zone inefficiency, today being the miscues of the fumbles and of the drops, things like this where it's like and then even like something as simple as the Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford connection, being able to lock in. It's like you know that this offense is gonna fully click into gear to where they can be the aggressor. They can really be going down, getting touchdowns, and this Rams defense can really come to life. You know that's around the corner, but it's hard to stay patient and wait for sure. You know how close I was to buying a Cardi jersey? Yeah, man, it's been rough for Cardi recently, but it's also not been all on him, especially those blocks. Like, all he can do is kick. Definitely give a lot of credit to his mental toughness after getting all the kicks blocked that he's had to be able to make that one when it mattered. Man, I just wish we coulda gotten that conversion on 4th and 1, like, we were right there and just not Blake Corum, Kyren Williams, like, how close can you be before fumbling the football away? Like, I was so confident the Rams had that win when we were that close, and oh, man, heartbreaker. The ghost that Sam Darnold was seeing, he passed them on to the Niners and is the final destination injury monster. CMC cheated, it's preseason, and it's coming for the entire team. Yeah, no comment there, but definitely hope the 49ers can take some losses. The Smitty, thanks for stopping in. Nick Mullins or Mac Jones, it doesn't matter. This is the flashbacks I was getting. Like Nick Mullins in 2020 in the game where the Rams were favored by I don't even know how many points it was. Like Rams fans were so confident we were gonna win that game. 49ers got a close win in that one too. Definitely like coming into this game, I thought the Rams were gonna win this game 27-20 or 27-17. I was so confident in it. And I give credit again to the game plan the 49ers had, and I feel like they had a super good game plan. It also is a combination of that and their miscues, as I've talked about ad nauseam in this stream. but definitely getting flashbacks. I definitely think Mac Jones is a lot better than Nick Mullins is, but flashbacks to a backup quarterback beating a really good Rams team at home definitely hurts. Hope Stafford is ready. His clone is easy to his clone is what he did there. Yeah, Stafford missed a couple throws, but I also feel like for the most part on the day he was pretty on it. I think it more of the miscues were happening with those fumbles and with those dropped passes than it was Matthew Stafford being off. Levi South. I mean, I guess we'll see again. I mean, guess we'll see again. They definitely take over that stadium, but it also makes sense with the way that the Rams moved so many times, moved to St. Louis, and for the California, the 49ers were the only team to root for it, and like the Raiders even way back then. So definitely doesn't surprise me to see a sea of red in the stadium. I just hope to see them going away sad on the escalators like we did in the championship. Kyron loves to fumble. Yeah, man, it hurts too because like there's never a good time to fumble the football. Like you can never be like, oh, I'm gonna fumble at this time because we're up by something. But Kyron's fumbles, as great of a player as he is, the last few seasons, his fumbles come at the worst times. Like the most pinnacle times that you just like you can't fumble the football. And Alfred Collins, I don't even think Kyron even saw him coming from behind with the punch out. It was a great punch out. Definitely hurts. He's an insanely good player, and I think a lot of people think he's trash just because of fumbles. He needs to clean those up, no doubt, but it's it's hard to look like when you know how good Kyren is, it's hard to look past these fumbles and be like, "He's such a great running back." It's like they come in such critical moments, man. They come in such critical moments. Niners only try to claim SoFi because their stadium is so raggedy. You know, if I were an opposing fan, I would definitely want to claim SoFi Stadium for sure, especially if it's in the own state that your team plays in, so I definitely don't blame the 49ers for sure. Darren, thanks for stopping in. He says 4th and 1 for the game, timeout to think about it, run the ball up, right tackles, but with 8 men in the box, great call, McVay. I'm glad somebody agrees with me in this situation. Like, I feel like there's so many more creative things you could have done than just a generic halfback dive. To your point, at your backup right tackle with the 49ers kind of loading the box, expecting the run. Again, hindsight's 2020. I just think that McVay, he's so smart. There's so many things I think he could have drawn up. I really personally would have liked to pass the ball there with the weapons you have of Puka, with Devontae, with Tutu Atwell, who's always coming in clutch, with all those guys. And to see that run play, it was so underwhelming. I'm with you there. Lily says Rams suck. We'll see about that. We'll see as the season goes on. No 49ers claim Levi South because it's our house. Little Nick Mullins started it. Nick Mullins, man, what a throwback name there. Yeah, congrats to your team, man. Again on the win for sure. I mean, for me, attendance for the stadium, I'd love the Rams to be able to have a real home field advantage against the 49ers, but I'm also not surprised given the fact that the Rams were out of California for so long and the 49ers were the only team to root for. And, Rams have moved around so much that I'm not honestly too surprised that the 49ers took over. But I just love it when the result is the Rams win, so the 49ers waste like their fans waste their money on tickets. Lily, so you're a Seahawks fan. How are you feeling about your Seahawks, Lily? We lost 2 games in the worst way, a blocked field goal and a 4th and 1 stoppage. Yeah, I'm with you, man. The way that the Rams lost this game is the most heartbreaking thing. It's like to the Eagles, they're obviously defending Super Bowl champions. They're a great team. But the Rams were like they should have won that game, no doubt about it. And those blocked kicks just came back to haunt you. Such a heartbreaker there. And like I said earlier, like I thought that was going to be the last big heartbreak that the Rams faced this season, at least in the regular season. And then to lose it in this way, very anticlimactic, but also like all the stress building up to that point where it's like you had so many heart stopping moments there. I hate heartbreaking losses again. I love when the losses are competitive to show that your team is good, but I also hate it because it's like, we'll lose this game. I don't want to have my heart broken. Like Michael C, it's interesting that Mac Jones only got 8 million for 2 years. Fields, whose career hasn't been much better, 35 million guaranteed for 2 years, the same offseason. I agree with that. That's actually a good point that you made there. Especially because like Fields, I feel like is more of a big prospect kind of guy with his athleticism than he is like showing anything. The 49ers, I don't know if you guys remember going into that draft where they drafted Trey Lance. I believe was that 2021. Um, that year, Shanahan really wanted Mac Jones. Like, he it was the quarterback that the 49ers wanted, but most of the brass for the 49ers was pushing for Trey Lance, and so Shanahan wasn't the happiest to select Trey Lance. Obviously, that doesn't work out even with trading up. He wanted Mac Jones all along. He was able to get Mac Jones for $2.8 million on 2 years. Like, that's a steal of a deal, and I came in coming into this game with a hot take of saying, like, I'd rather have Brock Purdy play than Mac Jones because Brock Purdy in his first couple of years, I feel like was more of a guy who played very much in system, in rhythm, the way that we saw Mac Jones playing tonight, just being kind of like a point guard in a way, shots when he needed to. But now it seems like Purdy's a little bit more, like, confident, fitting into tight windows, throwing interceptions. He had 4 interceptions on the season in just 2 games. So I came into this game hoping Purdy was gonna play because Mac Jones, right now, he's playing with confidence, but also, like, in this Shanahan scheme, like, he's such a perfect fit to be able to get the ball out on time, and you see why Shanahan wanted him. So as much as, like, people are ragging on the Rams for losing this game, there's no excuse to lose this game just given the fact that the Rams had so many opportunities. The 49ers are banged up as all get out, like, no doubt about it. It's also like Mac Jones is such a perfect fit for them. Shanahan, but granted, George Kittle is out, Ricky Pearsall is out, Javon Jennings out, Brandon Ayuk is still out. Like, you shouldn't have lost this game. But it's crazy to see now Mac Jones being on this 49ers team because there's really not a drop off. If anything, at this moment in time, is kind of an upgrade to Purdy. I understand Purdy's more mobile, but Purdy plays more on time and rhythm, which is what Shanahan wants out of these guys. So the Niners haven't won a Super Bowl in like 50 years. Super Bowl in SoFi and beat the Niners to get there. Come back if the Niners ever win a Super Bowl in your life. We got some smack talk going on in here. I'm never the biggest smack talk guy. Like, I hate the 49ers. I'm not the biggest fan of a lot of their fans. Like, a lot of their fans aren't the nicest people, but you definitely bring up a point there. Like, I think it's been like 30, 31 years since they won a Super Bowl. Obviously, the Rams got done in theirs, in their stadium. So definitely a heartbreaking loss tonight. But if it doesn't take away the Super Bowl that we got in 2021, I'm still a happy guy. Rams fans are poor sports. I hope you don't think that about me, Lily. I feel like I'm trying to keep it level-headed here. Like, this is a reaction. This is an analysis kind of thing. I'm trying to give my analysis. There's try to keep as much bias out of it, but I don't like trash talk too much. Like, just for me personally. But yeah, just going back to the game again, it's just definitely frustrating to see the way, like, you just those miscues really came back to bite you. And the 49ers had a very good game plan. They executed it well. The time of possession, the chewing the clock. The way that they were able to make this game not even feel like they had a bunch of starters out, like, hats off to them. But those miscues, especially in an offense you've invested so much into, is very frustrating to see, and especially when you're that close. Like, you not only talk about that Kyron fumble that he had there on the goal line, but you also talk about, um, the call that we talked about earlier with just doing a dive play on a 4th and 1. Just the way the 49ers were expecting it and we still ran that play is just, like, definitely deflating for me. Let's see. You lost. Third stringers Rams fans need therapy. This is what this is. This is a therapy session in my mind. This is you guys are helping me work through things for sure. Let's see. Darren says Jones did great, hats off, but any high IQ QB of or would have feasted on the soft cushion defense in the secondary tonight. It can't continue. Yeah, Darren, I agree with you. I mean, there are also a couple throws that Mac Jones made under pressure that impressed me, but for the most part, like you said, it was a very soft, cushiony Rams defense. And that really confused me because it kinda was just playing right into the 49ers' hands of their quick passes, their horizontal passing game, one after catch, like, they kinda played right into their hands, and for me, what was confusing about this whole thing is, like, Chris Shula has undoubtedly been my favorite defensive coordinator for the Rams under McVay. Like, he's so I love all the exotic looks that he brings. He's very aggressive. He deploys so many different kinds of looks. And for me, it felt like for the most part of this game, Shula was just playing backed off that Raheem Morris but don't break kind of defense that I just hate, to be honest with you. Like, I'd rather make an offense earn it. And so I was very confused by the change of identity there. The Rams definitely made the adjustments. And in the second half, I thought their defense looked a lot better than it did in the first half. So made those adjustments. But to me, I'm like, what are we doing here? Is this like I understand you can change your defensive philosophy based on matchups, but me, the way that the Rams changed their philosophy in this game played right into the 49ers' hands, and I'll give credit to the defense. They made the stops when they needed to. The Rams even had an opportunity in the fourth quarter to go up 27-20. There was a big opportunity there. It got to a 4th and 1. We ended up punting it down at the 1-yard line. 49ers ended up having that long drive field goal. We responded by field goal, goes to overtime, whatever. But the Rams defense ended up adjusting enough to give the Rams an opportunity to win this game. I think the offensive miscues that I've harped on all of this live stream really did come back to haunt the Rams. And, like, you hate to see it, especially with how much we've invested, but you also are, like, semi-encouraged in a way just because you know that they're fixable. But it's like, man, why is it in week 5 of the NFL season? Like, why are we still making these mistakes when we have such a, like, veteran-heavy offense? And that's, like, you could argue on paper that's the strength of our team. Michael C, the comment, he says, "Mac's weaknesses will probably be exposed over time if he keeps playing. He was good his rookie year and then regressed like crazy, but it wasn't all his fault." Matt Patricia, Belichick's demise. Yeah, and I just think that Mac Jones, in my opinion, is in the perfect situation with the 49ers, and if he was to play the rest of the season and Brock Purdy was gonna be out for the rest of the season, I would say that a lot of this would continue. I think defenses to be able to stop this 49ers team, especially when their weapons come back, is like throwing up throwing off the rhythm, pressing, which the Niners really didn't do a lot, blitz looks, getting in their face, like, don't just give it to them on those cushiony kind of defensive looks that we had. But Mac Jones, unfortunately, I think is just such a good fit for them. And when he got signed there as a backup, it's like, dang, like, you knew that this is a guy that Kyle Shanahan wanted the whole time. So we already answered that one. Michael C, thanks again. Yeah, it's not like we have any role in team success or failures. We are listless playthings of enormous forces, to quote Kurt Vonnegut. I hope I pronounced that right. Yeah, man, I'm still thank you guys again for helping me work through this because this really is like a therapy session. Like, again, as much as I don't want to go live after a game, like, you guys help me to work through these things for sure. LA Rams, thanks for the comment. Love that profile picture, by the way. This sucks, man, and we got a tough game. The Ravens next week. Ravens are not an easy game. Ravens could play a little bit of a spoiler potentially. I don't know if you saw though, LA Rams, Lamar Jackson is actually not expected to play this game, and I talked about it earlier. I kinda wanted him to just to give a true test for this Rams team, but at this moment, it is, Cooper Rush who's expected to be their starting quarterback. So if the Rams lost that, I'd start to get worried, especially, like, the Baltimore defense has actually been pretty soft this year, even with all the big name guys, as they've had really underperforming. So no game is gonna be easy. I said coming into this 49ers game that I was about it, and we ended up losing, obviously. No game is easy, but it's not I don't think it's gonna be the Ravens game that you guys are used to seeing, Ravens team, I mean, with Lamar out and the way that they've looked this season. So a good bounce back opportunity for the Rams to improve to 4-2. Also, by the way, guys, I'll have him Graven, I don't know if you guys know him, he's a Raven content creator. He'll be on next week to help preview the Rams and give us a look into this Baltimore Ravens team. I disagree with that Rams might not make the playoffs. Anything can happen, obviously. I think for me, I would say the Rams wouldn't make the playoffs if it gets to the point where the Rams are dealing with a lot of injuries. You hate to see them lose games like these, but the mistakes they're making and the things that aren't connecting right now, I personally think are things that are very easy to clean up and to fix. You just hate to see them drop games like that. Like, you love the games where you make a lot of mistakes, but you're able to come out on top, and the Rams almost did that to be able to learn from it and win. But sometimes I feel like losses can help you to be able to evaluate some things that need to be adjusted and fixed for sure. So I think the Rams are still gonna make the playoffs. I think the only way that they don't make the playoffs is if they get severely injured, which hopefully that doesn't happen, but that's my perspective on it. Not gonna read that one. Uh, Niners might not make the playoffs, too many injuries. I think they will just because their schedule is so cupcake, unfortunately. Sorry, Rams season is over. I mean, hey, we'll see it. We'll see what happens. I personally don't think it is. I mean, we're still above 500 right now. We have a good opportunity to bounce back against a very banged up Ravens team. I know we just came a banged up 49ers team, but I would very strongly push back on the fact the Rams season is over. Believe it or not, too, actually, a lot of Rams fans were saying that after we lost to the Eagles. DJ, thanks for coming in. He says McVay wasn't aggressive with that play call throughout the game. He great until the end and then came back and hurt us at the end. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that sentiment of it. It's just like, I don't think he was aggressive enough on that 4th down. Again, if it works, if he converts by complaining about it, probably not. All of us probably don't want that, but I just, like, it was not a great look, and especially, like, I think Darren pointed out earlier, the Rams took a timeout and reassessed and called that play, and it was still just a 3rd down halfback dive towards your backup right tackle. Like, I just McVay, he's so creative. It was so weird to see that. It's gonna be a long 10 days. Yeah, we gotta definitely direct our energy to improving on a lot of these things because while I talked about the mishaps of the 2 fumbles with Kyron and with Corum, especially at big moments, while I talked about the Devontae Adams, like, connection not being all the way there yet, and talked about the Kyron Williams dropped pass that, like, the field goal blocks, the missed field goal, all these miscues that they had, even going back before this, with the Rams being, like, pretty bad on 3rd downs, their 3rd down efficiency is pretty bad over the last handful of games before this Niners game, their red zone efficiency isn't the greatest. So, I think that this, like, mini bye week coming into, this week, heading into the Ravens, having a long week is a big opportunity for the Rams to show that they're gonna be able to collect and regroup and kinda correct these mistakes that they're making. LA Rams says the Rams will be 12-5 or 11-6. I definitely yeah, I see something similar on that aspect of it. I definitely don't think this season is over. Rams have the talent, they have the coaching staff, and the games that they've lost this season, as heartbreaking as it's been with the Eagles and the 49ers, both of those games, you can make a strong argument that the Rams had every opportunity to win, and it was more so on them not executing than it was on the 49ers just being or the Eagles just being elite. Like, being up 27 or 26-7 on the Eagles at the end of the half, losing that game, having the block kicks the way you did. 49ers, again, they had a great game plan given the situation they were in. I'm gonna continue saying that, but you also had some miscues to where it's like both losses that the Rams ended up having on their resume are ones that are very correctable. Very frustrating, but they're very correctable, and I think that's encouraging. Wish we'd run more hurry up and give option to Stafford to audible plays at the line. Yeah, the Rams have been really good in their hurry up offense, but we haven't seen them do that a whole lot, and it feels like when they do that, even going all the way back to the Eagles playoff game last year, it was when they got in that hurry up offense, they felt like they were, like, executing, it was wearing out the defense. I'm not sure exactly why we don't do that as much. Maybe it's substitution purposes, getting more guys because we have a lot of different kind of options and weapons, like Terrence Ferguson, as I talked about, he had that one catch, that 50-50 catch on the slot fade. I definitely wanna see more Terrence Ferguson. I know that as I talked about this week in my video, talking about Terrence Ferguson and why he's not playing, I discussed that the Rams clearly, like they've told us, Sean McVay and Leslie just point blank that he's just not ready enough, and the depth that we have in the floor that's, like, solid enough, they're good with right now, but I definitely wanna see more Terrence Ferguson looks, especially, like, for his first NFL catch to be that 50-50, 3rd and 5 slot fade. We saw the athleticism. I feel like a lot of our tight ends just aren't difference makers. So I don't know what you guys think, but I definitely want to see more Ferguson. I understand he's probably not the most refined blocker right now, but I'd be curious to see the snaps he got tonight because it really didn't feel like a lot. But it feels like this is a guy that can make an impact for us. I don't believe in this team anymore, not when you lose to a practice squad. Obviously, you can think what you want, Rams Mob. Thanks for coming in, by the way. I would definitely push back on that and just say, like, just give it time. Like, we're still in October, very early October. The Rams have time to correct these mistakes. You can obviously make whatever decision you want. I would still keep faith in the Rams. There's definitely criticism that's to be reserved for them, to be given to them, and I've given it myself for sure. They're not to be let off the hook. But I wouldn't give up on this team with the veterans that we have, with the coaching that we have, and all the games left. I hate losing games like this. It's so frustrating, but I wouldn't give up on them. Chase Blackburn has to go. I don't care, Rams Mob says. I'm assuming you're alluding to those blocked kicks. One thing, we're talking so much about the Rams special teams and it being bad, rightfully so, with the blocked kicks, inexcusable. Hate to see even just any field goal attempt now. I'm so nervous going into. But I also have to give my credit to Josh Carty and those knuckleball kicks. Like, to start the game, that was great. The Rams almost got the ball on the opening kickoff because of that knuckleball kick. Cardi, as many things that are going wrong, it's more so going wrong around him, like the protection on those kicks is just terrible. Penetration is just you can't have that happen. But those knuckleball kicks, like they're a serious weapon. And I think a cool thing about those kicks for me is everybody's gonna say, like, "Well, like, going into practice in the game week, teams are gonna be practicing against those to be ready for it," but the thing is, like, it's only the Rams and I believe it's the Panthers that are doing this knuckleball kick to this effect that is working this well, so teams aren't even able to, adjust to it and game plan for it, which is making a kickoff be a weapon. So definitely something to continue to keep your eye on. Chase Blackburn, we gotta figure out this, like, kicking and, like, extra point field goal thing because you can't be nervous about just a standard kick every time. We gotta figure that out for sure, but I definitely like the knuckleballs that he's been able to install. Trey Williams for special teams O-lineman. Yeah, kinda like what I talked about earlier, like, I hate it for Kyron because it's obviously up to him, he can't fumble those balls, and he fumbles in the worst moments like we talked about earlier. It's frustrating for him or for me too, just because, like, he is a very complete player, and he's a player that a lot of people are ready to give up on and are frustrated that we paid. He does so many things well, and again, it's so easy to say this, like, if he doesn't have this fumble, fans wouldn't look at him in this way, but, like, really, Kyron was putting together such a good game, even to the fact of having those 2 receiving touchdowns, but I definitely understand where Rams fans are coming from, those fumbles in key moments. I wouldn't go as far to say, like, Trey Williams at this point. I'm just not there yet. I think there's a lot of things he brings that gets overlooked, but the fumbles hurt, man. They do, and they have to be addressed, no doubt. Mr. Niners for life says, "Let's go 49ers." Congrats, man. Congrats on the win. Heartbreaking for us, but definitely, I bet you had a good time there. Hands Mob says, "Ravens won't be easy. Cooper Rush has beat us before." Has he? On the four so, Cooper Rush, he was on the Cowboys before this. I don't remember him beating us. Was that 2022 that you're referencing? Because I thought that was Dak that played that game. No game in the NFL is easy, but, like, if you're saying, would you rather play Lamar Jackson in the Ravens or Cooper Rush in the Ravens? Much rather play Cooper Rush, and I think the Ravens, if you provide a good get back, I even talked about it earlier, like, this Ravens team, even with Lamar Jackson, while like, they're still capable of doing insane things, like, they have not been themselves this year, and their defense in particular has been very, very easy to attack, and I will have Engraven from the Ravens YouTube channel. He's almost at 100,000 subscribers, actually. He'll be on Preview the Ravens. I still don't remember Cooper Rush beating us, but I definitely have confidence going into that game. It's like some reason every time we play the 49ers, the Rams, and McVay gets scared and soft for some reason. Yeah, the last I mean, we've won 3 in a row, the 49ers coming into this game. Also, sorry for this audio cutting out here. The Wi-Fi going in and out. It should be back soon. Um, Going back to that though, the Rams came into this game winning 3 consecutive games against the 49ers, and so they were doing a better job about it. I feel like this game was so weird. I don't know if they overlooked this team and thought this would be an easy win because of all the backups were in. I wouldn't because McVay and Shanahan have that rivalry, and they definitely take these games very seriously, but I would say that was the most surprising thing for me in this game was to see the defensive philosophy for 3 quarters of the game being so soft and, like, laid back. That has not been the identity of this Rams defense, and the reason they've been so successful is exotic looks, those blitzes, the pressure, the getting in people's face, not doing that bend but don't break thing. I definitely hope the team doesn't continue because especially playing against a team like the 49ers, you're just playing right into their hands. Niners is fixing, to start getting healthy at the right time. Let's go 49ers. Man, I don't know how you guys actually, you do have a little bit of an easy schedule, but given all the injuries they have, I mean, the easy schedule is still pretty hard for a backup to be doing it, so good, congrats to you guys for sure. Your creativity on the last play, I totally 1000% agree on that. I don't know what that was. Rams got beat by a hurt team, which look forward to, that's the hard part. As long as we bounce back, as long as it gets to the end of the season and we look back and be like, "Man, like, that 49ers game was like, how did we lose that one?" Like, hopefully, we're looking in hindsight and being like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot we lost that one," rather than, "This is the reason that we lost the NFC West." Uh, we just have to move on, and we learn from our mistakes. That's the thing, man, like, it's easy to be reactionary, it's easy to have these bold takes and just be like, "Man, like, we need to trade everybody, give up on this team." I'm definitely not with that. LA 42, with you there. Gotta make these corrections. The corrections are gonna be the biggest things. If these are repeated mistakes of these kinds of, like, scenarios where you're shooting yourselves in the foot, if this continues for the rest of the season, I'd understand the concern, but definitely giving the Rams an opportunity to clean these things up, and I have confidence that they will. Taking the ball to Stafford's hands killed that OT drive. I totally agree with you, man. Mr. 89, I am right with you there because not only do I think that Sean McVay could have drawn up a much better call on the 4th and 1 rather than just handing it right up the middle against a heavy box, but you have Matthew Stafford, a future Hall of Famer, and you have Puka Nacua, you have Devontae Adams, you have Kyren Williams, you have every bit of weapons. You have a genius play caller, and it's a 4th and 1, and we saw a very similar situation back against the Texans in week 1 to where you had Puka go through the B gap. Like, do something like that. Do something give make Stafford lose the game because Stafford is one of those guys that has these 4th quarter comebacks that are clutch. He has 50-game winning drives, 60,000 plus passing yards. You have all these weapons. You have a genius play caller. I understand Kyren Williams is a great 3rd and short running back, 4th and short running back, but that I just feel like there could have been so much more creativity there. At least stress the defense. If they cover it all, hats off to them. Like, the play call can be complex enough to make them beat you. But to me, just kind of, like, rolling over and just running the ball there is not my favorite, especially because like, most of the game, 49ers were kinda creeping up, getting ready to play the run that way, so I agree with you. All in all, it was a dang good game, though. Definitely was a good game. I just wish we came out on the better end of the stick there, Mr. Niners for life. One game, let's see, Darren says, "One good thing after tonight, a few more games, Tutu stats will be down to 1.5 million per catch." I definitely like to see Tutu Atwell more involved in this offense, and even Jordan Whittington, we saw get involved a good bit more in the first half of the game, but definitely like the I feel like this game we saw a little bit more spread out targets for the Rams offense, and Tutu Atwell definitely is getting a little bit more of his burn, and I think these impact plays that he's making are only helping him for the future and getting more targets, and I think, oddly enough, him having that game winner touchdown against the Colts last week, that 88-yard one, kinda helped to remind McVay of, like, "Hey, you should use this guy a little bit more." Because I think for Atwell, it's been more about not being used and being involved in plays than it has been about him just not executing, so definitely glad to see the dollar amount on those go down each catch. You guys ain't the same since Aaron Donald retired. I think we're a completely different makeup of a team, but I think we are getting to be as just as good as the Super Bowl team was, like, we're on our way. There's so many things to clean up right now, but I would say even if you're just kinda, like, honing in on this pass rush in general for the Rams, I think the pass rush for the Rams defense is better without Aaron Donald right now. That's no slight at Aaron Donald. He deserves every bit of credit he has. He's a Hall of Fame. Love Aaron Donald. But the defensive approach for the Rams now, they got crazy pass rushers everywhere on this defensive line, game wreckers on this defensive line, and it was weird to see the first half, the 49ers actually did a really good job against them, but they were also getting the ball out quickly against the soft coverage. I guess that was more of it, but I think that the Rams pass rush is better without Aaron Donald. If you put Aaron Donald on this pass rush, that'd be insane, but I think teams like the 49ers in particular in the past were able to kind of zero in and slow down this pass rush for the Rams because they can just kinda look to one guy in Aaron Donald and take him away, and they did a really good job of that, but I feel like the Rams pass rush is more complete now, they have a lot more options to where I almost feel like the defensive line is better without him, as weird as that sounds. Niners ain't the same since the '90s. Sean McVay has regressed, he's bad in close games, choked at Philly, and choked here. I would disagree that he choked in Philly, just be well, I guess where you're coming from in the way of, like, you're up 26-7 going into halftime and you lose that game. You could have got I think he definitely got more conservative there, but you had 2 opportunities to be able to kick a field goal to win the game that gets blocked, so I don't know how much of that's on McVay, but he definitely let the Eagles back into that game, and there's no excuse for that for sure. Rams mob corrects the Niners hasn't been the same since the '80s. Niners were playing their backups. This is the most embarrassing loss of the McVay era. I disagree. I think the Eagles one is actually up there for one of the most embarrassing losses, which is what hurts because that happened so recently. But I mean, the chat was talking about it earlier. We saw Nick Mullins come to the Rams Stadium in 2020 and win the game. So I would say this isn't the most. I mean, we're arguing about most embarrassing losses. Rams just should have won point blank period. Over half the Niner fans weren't alive to see a Niners Super Bowl win. Yeah, that's very true, very true. Thank you guys all for the comments, by the way. Shanahan, Little Bro, McVay, SMH. Yeah, hopefully we get right here in the second matchup. San Francisco Browns. 49ers B team beat your A team. They definitely did. They boy 14. Definitely frustrating for sure. This was a bad, or let's see, Ryu Ken. I don't know if I pronounced that right. Says this was as bad as the Chargers losing to the Giants. We should have destroyed the 49ers. And I predicted that. I said the Rams were going to win 27-17. I'll take that L on my face right there. I definitely thought the Rams were going to win 27-17. 49ers had a good game plan as well as the fact that the Rams just did not execute. Like a lot of big moments where they shot themselves in the foot with those fumbles, the drops, all the things we've talked about. Is Kyron getting paid to fumble? I sure hope not, man. Cole, thanks for stopping in. I'm so frustrated and heartbroken. Where did we go, or where do we go from here? This was a practice squad team embarrassing. Yeah, it's definitely frustrating as far as where do we go from here. Where I talked about earlier, we're heading into a game where we play against the Baltimore Ravens here on the road in Baltimore right before we go to London against. So definitely opportunities for the Rams to be able to correct things and clean up. I like how we're going to have a long week to be able to correct these things, make the necessary adjustments, hopefully correct yourselves in the ways that you just shot yourselves in the foot so many times. But I do think the Ravens are very beatable. And the fact that Lamar Jackson's not going to be playing that game, I think you got to clean up these mistakes. You got to get better. I think the Reds are actually pretty good on third down in this game. But over the season, their third down efficiency has been pretty bad because they've been in a lot of third and tens. The red zone efficiency has been pretty poor as well. So I think you got to clean up the red zone, third down efficiency. And I think that I'm going to stand by my point. This Rams offense can move the ball, and they are very good at moving the ball down the field. They put up a lot of yards, but they either stall in the red zone or they make those mistakes like the fumble by Blake, where they make the mistakes like was fumbling. They have a holding call like we saw against the who is it? The Eagles, Coleman Shelton having the holding call to be able to take a touchdown off the board. So you got to clean up those things where the Rams, you can see the potential, you can see, and then getting on sync with Devontae Adams more. I think if the Rams team can put up even 7 more points a game, or if they can just be more efficient, turning those threes into sevens, or turning those turnovers into actually going down and scoring, like they've shown the potential to be able to do, then you kind of have this whole defense turn loose, able to play. Like, as annoyed as we are about this Rams defense against 49ers offense this week in their game plan of being kind of soft and letting them take easy like 5 yard. As annoyed as we are, the Rams defense has actually been pretty impressive this season. And I think they can only be more impressive if you have the Rams putting their foot on the opponent's necks early on in games to be able to force them to have to play from like opposing teams to play from behind. Rams defense can really come along. So I think that's where the Rams move forward. It's cleaning up those mistakes there. Third down efficiency, not those third and tens. And we were able to move the ball. You can't shoot yourselves in the foot, man. Bay boys, since we all know you're Ellie Ram says, "Got to keep fighting. Don't never quit. Keep going." I'm with you there, Ellie Rams. Shanny always playing conservative. Isn't that crazy? Like Shanahan, I know his story with the 49ers. We've all joked about it before. Like there's so many times where he has a big lead that he chokes. The biggest one, obviously, being that 28 game in the Super Bowl. But the Rams were down 7-17 in this game heading into halftime, and they actually almost came back and won this game. I really wish we could have pulled that off because that would have been a nice comeback there. Why no pressure on Mac Jones? Paul says. Thanks for coming in, Paul, and stopping in. I appreciate it. I kind of talked about it earlier. I think a lot of it was the weird change of philosophy that this Rams defense had coming into this game, just playing that soft coverage. They were kind of like, I really wanted them to disrupt things at the line of scrimmage, press guys, especially with a lot of 49ers weapons just being out. Like, you don't have a bunch of dangerous guys there. The Rams were playing soft on defense as far as the coverage goes. So no matter if you had a good pass rush or not, they would get the ball out fast. And then with the time of possession being what it was, I'm going to go back to my notes here. 49ers just completely dominated the time of possession, 39 minutes, 25, 83 plays to 64. So that on top of them getting the ball out fast, the Rams defense was getting exhausted. They were getting gassed, and you could just kind of see it come up there. Pass rush, I think, figured things out a little bit more. I think the Rams' pass rush is better when they're being more exotic, sending blitzes and being creative. Felt like the first half, they were just more being like the bend but no break, which is the defense I hate. Looked like the stands were filled with Niners red. They definitely were appalled. I mean, this has been a theme since the Rams came back to LA, and as I explained earlier, it makes sense, but definitely like to see, the Rams be able to handle less than 49ers when they spend tickets. Yeah, this is what it is. Yeah, Rams got or the 49ers got so quick that it's hard to get pressure. Niners own the Rams, even though they only won 1 time in the last 4 matchups. No, I'm kidding. I don't really like talking smack, but I would say they own them right now. The Rams have won 3 out of the last 4 against them. They should have won this game for sure. The Niners were down bad, and they were able to come back and was still Striker's Corner, thanks for stopping in. Maybe Rams are not as good as defense is yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna be this team. I think you can't overreact over a game like this. I think there's so many things you can clean up here. It's early on in the season, there's a lot of time to correct it, and you have a lot of veterans, so I wouldn't give up on them just yet. Niners beat us with the same old script. We can never stop it. I hate that script. The 5-yard throws, the out quick, the run game, the screen, like, this felt like kinda going back to that 2021 year and the years before that where the 49ers beat us, like, 10 times in a row, where it's like, man, they're doing the same thing. They're throwing the ball out quick on these slant routes. They're not doing anything crazy, like, get in their face, press them, send blitzes, and it took a while for the Rams to do that. Their defense really did adjust in that 3rd to 4th quarter. They did a good job adjusting, gave the Rams every opportunity to win, but the miscues ended up hurting. Can't stop the pass, can't win games. I had 0 idea Rams fans existed. Well, you have proof now. Trade for a corner. Yeah, I do, I don't know what you guys think. I wanted to be patient after that Eagles loss and the way our corners kinda got manhandled and not try to trade for a corner. I think the Ahkello Witherspoon, injury is definitely huge, and we're feeling it right now, especially with the size of our corners. But I think I'm definitely with you guys. I think we gotta trade for a corner, and hopefully one becomes available at the deadline because I think that could push this Rams team over the top. As a Niners fan, suck it easy. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, congrats, man. Congrats on your team getting that win. Definitely frustrating, but can't wait for that rematch for sure. Impressed. Never met a Rams fan in my life. Nice to meet you. Rams fan for life. Paul says Jake's not streaming, so we're here for therapy again. I got you guys. You guys are as much therapy for me as I am for you guys. TG. Anytime I see TG, I think of Todd Gurley. Bang bang, Niner game. Did the Niners own the Rams in the NFC Championship game 2021? That's another Super Bowl. Got a point. Got a point. TG, thanks for being a level-headed fan here. He says, "Rams fans, settle. Your team is better than us Niners." I can admit that. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. I'm definitely where you're coming from. I don't wanna overreact to this game on it for sure, but I'm not giving up on it for sure. I have been alive to see that. I was at the Dolphins-Niners Super Bowl, man. That must have been fun. Cole says, "I'm so frustrated and heartbroken. Where do we go from here? This was the practice squad of Bears." Oh, yeah, I already responded. My bad. Uh, Paul says, "If the Ravens are next, Lamar always runs all over us." Well, that's the thing. I think Cooper Rush is actually expected to play that game, so we don't even have to play Lamar to my knowledge. Um, let's see. Rams for life, but our DBs are crap. Yeah, I definitely think we either need to get Ahkello Witherspoon back soon, which I don't think he'll be back for at least another month, or we need to trade for a corner. I've definitely gotten to that point. I would pick Tutu over Kyren. For what? I'm not sure what you mean there, Lily. Stafford is such a force. Rams have an incredible QB, irrespective for uh, irrespective of tonight's result. Thanks for that comment, Eric. Yeah, I love Stafford, man. I love Stafford. Definitely, that's part of the reason why I was so frustrated on that 4th and 1 that we just ran the ball. Like, I just wanna put it in Stafford's hands and let him be the reason that you lose. I think Corum had some drops. Yeah, he so Corum had 2 drops this game, if I'm not mistaken. Kyron had 1 drop, and then a week ago, Corum had 2 drops. So I think we're kinda seeing where like, I know Kyron had the fumble there, but I think we're seeing where Kyron is just a little bit more of a complete running back right now because Corum having 4 drops in 2 weeks is definitely not great. Bro's gonna be here all night. He's gonna read every comment. Hey, I told you it's a therapy session. I definitely do have to get out of here pretty soon though. Um, I think the short week really affected us tonight, but the loss really highlighted our weaknesses. Short week definitely affected it, but I mean, like, they're on a short week as well, the 49ers are, and they came up with a really good game plan with backups in, so definitely kinda take it with a grain of salt in my opinion. Another thing the soft defense killed us with, the 49ers had a 40-minute possession to our 26. Yeah, and they had 83 plays to our 64. So, don't know where that soft defense came from, but I kinda hate it because I love the aggressive style that we've played with before, and I just kinda hate where we kinda played right into the 49ers' hands. The team's not gonna be good enough, Johnny G says. We haven't beaten a single NFC team. I'd still pump the brakes on that. It's early in the season. We've only played 2 NFC teams to this point. In both games, you could argue that the Rams really should have won. No excuse that they lost this game, but I wouldn't say that we're not good enough this early on. I'd say wait till, like, mid-November, December timeframe to see if this team's really, like, something to be concerned about. Eagles loss is definitely worse, but this stings too. We lost the backups. Yeah. They both stung in different ways, but hopefully we just don't have to feel this again this season, like a loss like this. Eric says the NFC West is arguably the toughest division. Well, if you take the cards out of it. Yeah, that's the funny thing. I've heard a lot of people say that, like, the NFC West is by far, like, the hardest division and, like, toughest division. Then I think about the Cardinals, and I'm like, imagine if the Cardinals were good. Like, this division is pretty good, yeah. Mac Jones only got sacked once. He got sacked twice, I think, because we got the Kobe Turner one. I'm trying to even remember. We had Kobe Turner. You might be right. I can't even remember at this point. Uh, Notorious LSG, thanks for the comment. He says, "The soft mushy prevent that Rex were playing drove me nuts. How you don't guard seems to get out of the backfield on every passing down." Yeah, the soft defense frustrated me. It frustrated me too on that call down there early in the game where they threw the out route touchdown. After like Troy Reader was on him. I think the 49ers intentionally had it matched up that way, but I don't even know why Troy Reader was in the game because we still have Space and Landman, so that was definitely frustrating to see. McCaffrey, we knew coming into this game he had the second most receiving yards by any 49er. He's been used more in the passing game than he has in the running game. Yeah, the mushy, soft defense frustrated me, but we made the adjustments in the 3rd to 4th quarter where we still should have won despite that. Let's see. Just trying to see. Paul says, "Good to see Ferguson catch one." Yeah, especially given the difficulty of that catch, and I talked about it earlier, like, I understand the Rams don't think he's ready at this moment, but, like, I think that they should put him out there a little bit more because I think he's really a weapon for this Rams offense as the tight end position where a lot of our guys, yes, they have experience and they have time in this offense, they're not rookies and all of that, and they have solid floors. I think Ferguson has a high ceiling, so just involving him a little bit more in this offense, he's actually more of a weapon than anything. Eric Red says, "Rams are still a very good threat. 49ers lost to the Jags. It happens. No hate for this 49ers fan on the Rams." Eric, I really appreciate you. I see a lot of, like, I don't even wanna say delusional 49ers fans, but 49ers fans, like, rub me in my face, whatever. I'm not that kind of fan, so I appreciate you showing respect in that way for sure. Rams Mob says, "I think the short week really affected." Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, I already read that one. Annan said, "Oh, man, what a tough night." What a tough night it was for sure. I thought we should have just kicked the field goal, no time tied up, and reset. Really? I was with the call of going for it. I am more so against the play call that we had for that 4th down there, but I was not with the field goal, especially given the fact we've had so many blocks, we had to miss field goal. But for me, if you're gonna go for it on 4th down, I'd rather just put it in Stafford's hands. If you're a Niner fan in the chat, hit the like button. If you're any fan, if you hit the like button, I would appreciate it. Thanks, Eric. He said that He said, "Done." So I appreciate it. Likes actually do help get the stream out and my channel out to more people, so if you guys could hit the like button, that'd actually help a lot. Darren says, "Corum has cement hands. Unfortunate because he is an ultimate backup to Williams. His direct burst to current shiftiness messes with the defense." I definitely yeah, they're definitely very good compliments to each other, but he absolutely needs to improve his hands for sure, and I like the change of pace that Kyron and Corum provide, for each other. I still like Corum, but you can definitely see work in the passing game with 4 drops in 2 weeks. Pass rush definitely had a hard day, especially given the softie they had in their game plan they had. Rams Mob says Ferguson has a bright future. He definitely does, he definitely does. D'Angelo says, "Go Niners." Let's see. And yeah, I agree, pretty obvious what we were doing. Rams Mob, yep, teams that play indoors are soft. Team is 0-4 versus near Nick Sirianni and 0-5 versus LaFleur. That's an interesting point you brought up there. Um, I'd have to look more into that, actually, that's a really good point. I think it's interesting, aside from the Niners loss that we faced tonight, I think out of the last 12 games, the Rams have won 9 of them, and all 3 of the losses came to the Eagles, which is really interesting, and obviously we lost to the Niners tonight, but, um, that is definitely a very interesting thing where it's like, this is the first loss the Rams have taken to a team in, like, the last 12, 13 games that hasn't been the Eagles. Thanks for hitting that like button, Paul, I appreciate you, thank you so much. Real heart attack tonight, looking forward to the rematch in week 10. Respect to the Rams and their fans. Eric, you're like the best 49ers fan that I've met. I appreciate just the respect that you have and the level-headedness, even-keeledness. That game, yeah, I'm sure you were probably worried, especially when we were, like, 2 yards out from scoring that game-winning touchdown, but definitely, I appreciate your respectful approach to this. On the opposite end of things, 187 says he lost to backups. We sure did. Sure did. Frustrating for sure. Rams have an open stadium, not really indoors. Yeah, that's the weird thing about SoFi. It's like it has a roof, but it's more so a canopy than it is like a dome kinda thing, so I don't know, though. Overall outlook of this game, frustrating. You lost backups. This game is divisional. It means more. Divisional games are rude, I understand that, but you should have won this game. 49ers came in with a great game plan. Rams made a bunch of mistakes. It was definitely frustrating, and what can you do? Can't really do anything now other than clean up on those mistakes. We're above 500 right now, about to play the Ravens that will be without Lamar Jackson. We have a long week to prepare for that. Unfortunately, a long week to dwell on this loss, but hopefully we can, put that energy as a the Rams coaching staff into fixing these mistakes and getting to the team that I really think that they can be. But guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in tonight, making this such a fun stream, such a therapy stream, getting things off my chest. You guys just help to point out things that I didn't even see. Thank you to the Rams fans. Thank you to the Niners fans. Thank you so much again, Eric. Shout out to you. What a respectful 49ers fan. Appreciate you there. Um, yeah, don't give up on the we still got a lot of promise, frustrating loss, but you guys always know. Horns up and God bless, guys.